Derek, can you shed some light on the roster situation? Is Tyler Mott?
Yeah, Tyler Mott is being evaluated for an upper body. He's in a day-to-day situation. We'll hear more today after him getting evaluated. Maintenance day for Angel Cup. He's one of the guys that's kind of been battling a bit of a flu bug there. So Marco up, obviously a potential center and wing out, which excites us.
You mentioned earlier in the week you weren't going to call somebody like him up, but if it was only a one game or so, what do you?
Not necessarily one game. I just think it's a significant role. So I think we'll see him in our top 9. I think we'll see him on both special teams. One, I think it's still important. I think there's a reality of developing on the fly also in the NHL, but I think it's a person that can help us too. Again, it was kind of on that cut day, if you will. We only took 12 forwards. I think in reality, we could easily, if we had the roster space, had 14 forwards, maybe even 15 that we had in our vision that could help us early on.
There could have been a few guys you could have plucked from down there. I mean, does he just have that skill set right now that you guys need?
But I think he was the one that earned it most, made most sense from camp. He was a little step ahead of some of those other guys. Went down, played 2 really good games, and it just makes sense right now.
I know you don't want to put too much pressure on him, but just bringing in a new guy like that, a young guy can kind of provide a little bit of a spark too, some energy that you need right now.
Yes, and just he can even in practice today, I'm sure from up top he was noticeable. He's got some pop with his skating, some high compete. So yeah, it makes sense in a lot of ways.
Did you kind of sense it last night that maybe the guys are missing a little something or just
Could
a
be,
little spark?
and really frustrating night, tough to evaluate night. Again, I'm not going to harp on underlying numbers, but we actually had a higher expected goals for. We had more chances for. Slot shots were the same. Grade A's were similar. It's just we got crushed on special teams. And you do it to that team, they'll humble you. So a little bit of a message of not good enough. But at the same time, it's a 2-game losing streak. It just happens to be on the front end. We've done enough in our process to build off. We can't let this slide. So this will be a real challenge for us tomorrow.
What are you doing on defense?
We have our 8 right now, so we'll make a decision going into tomorrow.
Jeff is good to go?
Yeah, Jeff will be good to go. We expect to get him back in tomorrow.
Is 11-7?
Yeah, 11-7 is definitely in play, especially with the way our D are kind of playing out right now. 11-7 is definitely in play.
It looked like Casper was with Bergeron and Rasmussen today. What do you like about that potential combination?
I think Ras can complement anyone because he forechecks. He gets you second touches with pucks because he'll go get the puck for you. He goes to the net. He does some hard things. Obviously, with Marco, I think we want to give him an opportunity to succeed. And Bergeron's been making a lot of plays. I know it hasn't translated into a lot of offense, but he's been creating some of those chances for. So I like the combination of it. But again, potential of 11-7. We could get guys throughout. Not opposed to getting Marco on the wing at times with some other type players. I think he can generate some energy and touches, exactly what I just explained on Brass too.
Will you go with Lyon tomorrow?
Yeah, Lyon will be in that tomorrow.
They're obviously getting more desperate by each day in Nashville. Do you just try to still keep the focus on yourself, or kind of caution a little bit?
I'm sure they're desperate, but we're desperate too. This does not feel good. And again, it's been sporadic play. It's just frustrating that where we are with our results. I think there's 2 teams that are going to be playing a very desperate, important game early on.
With Marco being ready to play in the NHL, but maybe the role doesn't fit exactly what you'd like to see from him, what can he do in this call-up to, I guess, stick around and maybe get more of these games in?
Good question. I still need him to play within himself. I even think early last year this was new for him. He tried to do too much. You saw there just wasn't the time and space. Probably what we asked all the other guys. Manage your game. Don't turn pucks over. Play with energy and get above, be on top. I think a little help with some forecheck, just some pop in his skating, some energy. But I think we'll be cautious with, I guess, how we judge him. And this is his second NHL game, if you guys recall the game a couple years ago against Toronto. But just be himself. Don't put too much pressure on you. Play with energy. And I think he's going to bring that for us.
It looked like you spent a decent chunk of practice working on some defensive transitions. Where do you see room for improvement in that?
Yeah, this is one area. Our tricks and sorts. It was much better, actually, last night against the Rangers. Actually, those numbers were pretty good. It wasn't very good 2 games ago. So I think it's one of those away from the puck areas. We're still a work in progress. So that's one thing, kind of away from the puck. Some reads on our sorts. That's what we worked on today.
You mentioned special teams last night, and the Rangers ended up scoring those 3 power play goals in 5 attempts. I'm curious, when you're coaching the penalty kill after that, and a lot of the guys like Larkin and Rasmussen are playing in a power play, and you want to get looks there too, I guess how do you sort of decide where you're going to get those reps in for the penalty kill and get those guys that practice?
Yeah, it's a good question. And we've always had that balance. Easy to rep power play a lot of times, and you lose a little bit of getting your reps and your routes on the penalty kill. But we had a little bit of that today with some guys. Obviously, you saw Larks flipped over, took some PK routes also today. 2 key penalty killers weren't available for us today. So, that's a balance. Again, both special teams are important. It took about momentum over the night. Again, watching it back this morning was very frustrating. We had the first 7 shots tonight. We had the first 10 shot attempts, and we had a wide open backdoor tap in. Again, you wonder what the feel of that game would have looked like, being up 1-0. And then even the second period, we came out with pop, and we got to 2-1 zone time. We had a second grade A look, put them on the power play. All of a sudden, you find yourself down 3-1. So I think special teams, a little bit of point of emphasis in practice today, but it'll be a big point of emphasis going into tomorrow.
What have you seen so far from Eric Gustafson? I know he's kind of been in and out of the lineup in different games.
Yeah, I thought a much better 5-on-5 game from his first game. So again, we want quality 5-on-5 play from him, not to be a liability back there on the defensive side, and to help our power play. And again, power play's frustrating. He's been in and out of it. He had some good touches on it. It's just when it's not going in the back of the net, it can be frustrating. But help us along in the power play, which he's going to get opportunity on, but to continue to be reliable 5-on-5.
Is it important to have a left and a right shot on the power play at the point, or would you ever consider having 2?
That's a good question. As you can see us with the fluidness of our power play, it's just I like the fact we feel we have a righty and a lefty that can run the top of our power play, but sometimes those hands matching up where you want it to run through is very valuable. So yes, those lefty righties, but different looks, downhill looks. You saw Panarin in all 3 power play spots last night as a righty with some different looks. So I think that you can be fluid with it, but hands do matter in a lot of ways on the power play.
You mentioned that backdoor chance that you guys ended up not cashing. I'm curious, as a coach, how do you teach the finishing aspect of that? Like, you can teach the process, but how do you guys...
Yeah, I think you put them in those situations. We have offensive drills. We have finish-type drills. And Kat usually finishes that. He's got a good instinct. We literally... It was a set play. It's a pick in front, lefty to righty. You hope you get an open net, and then when it executes to perfection, obviously you want some finish. It just doesn't happen sometimes. But I think you can work on finishing with some fast rep type drills, under pressure type drills, and we work on those quite a bit.
Because it's a very instinctual thing, right?
Yep. I think it's instinctual, but I think you can grow in it. There's going to be some offensive confidence with it for sure.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.